Hi there, Claire Prothero here. We are chatting about today a hot topic that has come up quite a lot over the last few weeks, and that is how do I get my team to be accountable without becoming a dictator? And I think most leaders, anyone in a management position, can relate to this. And I would think, I was thinking about it broadly in categories, and I would say there's probably two types of leaders. Those leaders who perhaps don't care or are not aware of their impact that they have on other people, be it positive or negative. They're kind of more focused on the results. And I would say there's leaders that are more focused on, the results are important, but how you get there becomes part of the self-development growth process as well. And wanting to be an inspiring leader, what's come up a lot and I can relate to is that we are an empowering leader and that we are respectful towards other people and we are respected as business owners, as leaders in our own right. So I thought I would share with you, after some sort of deep thinking about it and pulling some concepts together that I have learned over the years and implemented in terms of understanding how to read people, what makes people tick, is I would say the first thing is definitely, we all know, it's self-awareness. It's becoming aware of who you are. And I've kind of I've taken it's a skill from one of the practical tips from Atomic Habits. And it talks about thinking about the kind of person you want to be. So if you want to be a sort of like a really excellent business owner, you would say, oh, as an excellent business owner, I get up early, or I always follow up on what I say I'm going to do. We kind of always thinking forward. So what you can do, which is very effective in terms of building accountability, is first becoming aware of yourself and saying to yourself, what kind of leader do I want to be? Because that will be your kind of guide, your framework, in terms of how you implement certain strategies. So for instance, I've used an example in emailer, and you would say something like, I am an inspiring leader. Now that can mean a lot to different people. So you want to say, as an inspiring leader, this means that I always empower people by giving them the tools to grow and learn. Or I have an open communication where I allow people to share what isn't working in the business or any challenges that they're facing. I have an open forum. So we really want to get it living in us. How do we give expression to that particular type of leadership? So becoming aware of the type of leader you want to be. Then, of course, we always go from understanding ourselves. We then want to go to understanding other people. And here I come back to, and I always said, it is so important to know the foundation of people, how they think and process information. So that would be, what are their natural strengths? So we're not talking about what they're good at, because you can be good at something and it can really be very draining, very boring, and cause you quite a lot of anxiety. We're looking for what you're great at. And then on the other spectrum, we'd say, what are they not so great at? So maybe you're very good at giving detailed projects or providing detailed feedback or something along those lines. But on the swing side, perhaps, which is maybe linked to one of, how your brain processes information, maybe in terms of giving detailed feedback, your team member struggles with time management. And once you start to understand how people think and process information in different ways, you are going to be able to couch your communication strategies and build in the accountability. Okay, so now we know that they've got a problem with, say, time management. This is an area for development. So this, as a leader, it's an opportunity for us now to go to the next thing where we say, we give feedback to our person that we're having a session with. And it doesn't need to be this fixed session with each individual team member. If you've got the time, great. But it can be more on the job, informal, and just having sort of a quick discussion there. What are your strengths here? What are your weaknesses? And then, of course, as a coach in a debrief session, we like to give our feedback of what we see, because we are a mirror to them as well, and we are leading the way. So I've used an example there. But if we stay along the example of time management, is what I see is, yes, you produce the results, but often it doesn't come in time, which puts a lot of people under pressure. Now, this is where it may be a bit controversial, but I get pretty direct, and it's worked very effectively. And I say, either you don't feel comfortable asking for assistance, and that's either something that you don't like reaching out, maybe you feel humiliated or ashamed, you would say to the person you are, your staff member, or on the other swing, maybe you haven't created an open communication platform. So although you're saying you're creating an open communication platform, if people aren't speaking to you, there is a message in your behavior that it is not an open communication platform, perhaps. There's always kind of a perhaps there. I wouldn't be so bold as to be so definitive, because people are complex. They're complex, dynamic, and changing. And that is why it's important to have that discussion with them on a sort of like a regular basis, because they're going to be outgrowing certain things. And then when people get bored, they start to procrastinate, they don't take responsibility, they shirk the responsibility, they're unmotivated, and you don't have accountability. You have to kind of drag them along with you. And then my final technique that you can use is start to build in the notion of personal accountability, and think of your journey. Share your journey of where you were before, not taking responsibility, not being accountable, if you were there. Fortunate, lucky for you if you weren't. But then share with how it was important to move to more sort of like having a boss mindset, and how you took that journey to have that boss mindset, and the empowerment that comes, and just keep reinforcing that, putting in get creative with different examples you can give and different strategies, where you start to encourage them to see their world from a different perspective, to see what it means to take accountability. And then the domino effect from there is that they can start to take charge of their lives, and they have more power. So they don't feel disempowered, they feel very empowered, and they can have an effect on their circumstances and on their situation. And that is through teaching about accountability, what it means, personal accountability. We start in the home, and then we can move it into into a work-related context. If you're wondering about how do I know about strengths and weaknesses, I do have the Maverick Accelerator assessment. You're welcome to go to that. That's www.maverickaccelerator.com, and there you will be able to assess people in your team. You're starting with yourself. Where are you operating at your highest point of contribution? As an alternative, I do have that free guide, the free resource, like a checklist of really great questions you can ask to get a deeper understanding of who the person is on your team and what makes them tick. Okay, well, that's it for me on a Thursday afternoon. Wishing you a fabulous weekend. Be well, be happy. Until next week.